Kenya's positivity rate for COVID-19 has dropped to 6.9% after the Ministry of Health reported 204 new cases of coronavirus from a sample size of 2,971. Since the start of June, Kenya's average positivity rate stands at 8.7%. Now, the 204 new cases have now pushed the country's caseload to 182,597. In terms of county distribution, Nairobi has 56 new infections, Homa Bay 27, Siaya 15, and Uasin Gishu 14. Kisumu and Kakamega each have 12 new cases. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe also announced 21 more deaths, but the cumulative fatality is now rising to 3,595. A total of 1,051 patients are admitted in various health facilities countrywide, with 101 patients in the intensive care units. In terms of vaccination, Kenya has now administered 1,287,776 doses so far, with 285,277 having been fully vaccinated as of Saturday. Uganda continues to witness surging numbers of COVID-19 infections and deaths. Now, the latest government data shows that Uganda has reported 35 more coronavirus-related deaths, pushing cumulative fatalities to 903. At the same time, the Ministry of Health has reported 889 new infections, with Uganda's caseload now standing at 78,394. Despite Uganda being on a 6-week lockdown, it is still recording double-digit positivity rates. From the latest figures, the country's positivity rate is at 10.9%. Uganda has so far administered over 843,000 doses of the coronavirus vaccine. Turning to the global front, over 181.8 million cases have so far been reported since the pandemic started, more than 3.9 million deaths, at least 166 million recoveries. In Europe, Britain has reported over 14,000 new COVID cases, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases in the country to more than 4,732,434, according to figures released by the Department of Health and Social Security Sunday. Now, the country also recorded another 11 COVID-related deaths, raising the death toll to 128,100. In the U.S., the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases has surpassed 33.62 million, with the death toll nearing 604,000, according to the Johns Hopkins University. The United States leads the world in the number of both confirmed COVID cases and deaths. Around 66% of adults across the country have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. In India, the COVID-19 tally rose to over 30.2 million on Sunday after 50,040 new cases were registered. Latest figures from India further show that 1,258 more deaths have been recorded in the last 24 hours. Moving back in the country, Kenya will host the World Rally Championship Safari Rally every year until 2026. President Uhuru Kenyatta has announced. The president said the government secured the hosting rights of the Elite Motorsport event from the International Automobile Federation and the WRC after years of intense lobbying and preparations. At the same time, the president announced immediate government plans to commence preparations for next year's WRC Safari Rally. President Kenyatta spoke on Sunday at the Kenya Wildlife Service Training Institute in Naivasha when he presided over the presentation of prizes to winners of the 2021 WRC Safari Rally. Now, the grueling 3-day event was won by French driver Sebastien Ogier, followed by Toyota teammate Takamoko Kasusa of Japan. Hyundai's Otto Tanaki of Estonia finished third. Laikipia County government has unveiled its budget for the next financial year that largely focuses on uplifting the county economy that has been heavily battered by the COVID-19 pandemic for the last 15 months. Governor Derito Muridhi's government has proposed its 2021-2022 programs mainly to inject liquidity across the county for citizens to have money in their pockets. Now, the spending proposal contains a deliberate focus on reviving and bringing the county economy back on its feet through a number of interventions. Now, the county government has set aside 45 million shillings to equip health facilities, while 84 million will go toward acquisition of drugs and other medical supplies. The devolved unit has also set aside 30 million NHIF subsidies, specifically for those living in abject poverty. Now, to ensure liquidity in the market, the county government has also set aside 700 million shillings for payment of pending bills as the first charge by all the departments. Moving on, Nyandarua Governor Francis Kimemia has urged the government to consider lifting the ongoing moratorium on tree harvesting in public and community forests. Now, the governor says the ban was long overdue, with those who depended on timber and tree business adversely affected. According to Kimemia, the government should lift the moratorium strategically to ensure the forest cover keeps on increasing despite the logging. He spoke when witnessing the signing of the transition implementation plans between the county and the national government.
Sasa niko na shida vijana mahali kulikuwa na kunakatwa miti na somi zimefungwa. Hao vijana wako na shida kubwa sana. Wamerudi wengine kwa pombe, wengine hawana kazi, wengine wanakaa tu namna hiyo. Disillusionment. Ningependa tu kuuliza national government kwa heshima vile tulifanya pale Naivasha na magavana wengine tutoe hiyo logging but in a very strategic way and is a very very fast way, na tuone kwamba tukikata tunapanda vile mlikuwa mnafanya hapo awali.
The country's blue economy has received a shot in the arm after President Uhuru Kenyatta unveiled the 10 billion shillings for the Kenya Marine Fisheries Socio-Economic Development Project, a government initiative aimed at uplifting an income of fishing communities along the Kenyan coast. President Kenyatta said the immense opportunity provided for by the project must be exploited to generate investments, create jobs, increase tax revenues, and sustainably improve local livelihoods. He emphasized the need to commercialize the country's enormous marine resources for the benefit of Kenyans by creating well-thought strategic national systems to ensure landing of more than 300,000 metric tons of fish annually, and in turn create at least 60,000 jobs over the next 10 years. The World Bank supported Project 6 to create over 60,000 new jobs in the fishing sector over the next decade and will benefit 19 sub-counties in Kwale, Mombasa, Kilifi, Tana River and Lamu counties. Moving on, Nigeria's real estate sector is witnessing unprecedented boom despite the COVID-19 fallout. As a challenging year ended with the country officially exiting a recession in the last quarter of 2020, occupier demand shot up in the first quarter of this year. Now let's get more from CGTN.
More houses continue to spring up in the Nigerian capital, Abuja, and other parts of the country. Reports from the nation's Bureau of Statistics show that by the fourth quarter of 2020, Nigeria's real estate sector returned to a positive growth of 2.81% year-on-year. This is after falling to a four-year low after the sector shrunk by almost 22%.
We have always seen properties as the only assets, that is able to withstand the test of time. The housing sector, I think the sector is about the only one that's been able to survive both the economic meltdown and, of course, the pandemics. And I think it's largely because every man must have a roof over their head. And technology has evolved. People are now beginning to look at automated homes. People want to live in more comfortable environment.
Nigeria's economy has been battered by the COVID-induced economic downturn, but diaspora remittances and government policies to encourage property ownership are driving the property market, and industry players say the sector has the potential to do more.
It is very marginal. When you talk in terms of 21 million housing deficit, Nigeria currently does not build up to 100,000 housing units per annum for a population of over 200 million people. So the boom we're talking about, I have said to you, in terms of real estate development is very marginal. We should be doing over 1 million housing units per annum to have a boom that will actually shock the economy. Boom is not actually what we should be glorifying about.
Nigeria still has a massive housing deficit of 17 million units. Experts say that ramping up housing infrastructure should be at the top of government's agenda.
The government needs to step up their game. They need to have an all-inclusive policy that can help engage both private sector and even the government. Government needs to do more on decentralizing policies, that would help loan facilities, especially single digits, more accessible as compared to what the commercial banks are giving.
Government has said it's intensifying efforts to close the gap in the housing sector. It's partnering with private investors to provide more affordable homes through easily accessible mortgage loans.
Thank you very much for watching. Let's step out with the look at how the forex market is performing.